Let's get down to business because at number 1, you have the Browns taking Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I got him going Sam Darnold here. And normally the way I do mock drafts, it's based off what I'm hearing, not what I would do, with this one exception. I hear all the chatter about Josh Allen, but at the end of the day, I just think Sam Darnold has to be the pick, and that's why I put Sam Darnold in here, the number 1 spot. I think he's got a high ceiling, but I think that floor is high as well.
Yeah, it looks to be the presumptive number 1 pick. How about at number 2, Saquon the Chef Barkley?
Yeah, to me, best player in the draft, Saquon Barkley. All that talk about picking a Hall of Famer, to me, that points to one guy, and that is the Penn State running back. Come in there, you talk about having a young, dynamic offense. If they can get Odell Beckham up and running, and now you're going to score some points.
All right, how about at number 3 to the Jets, gangrene, Baker Mayfield. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, DJ.
A lot of quarterbacks here for the Jets to kind of pick through here. You just keep hearing more and more about Baker Mayfield being a guy that they would covet and they would want to bring in there. So, to me, Baker Mayfield behind an offensive line that's still growing and not where they need to be yet, I think his mobility here could be a factor, could be a fit here for the Jets.
Lance, you like the fit with Baker Mayfield to the Jets?
I'm not crazy about it, and I'll tell you why. My problem with it is I don't see a true number 1 wide receiver over there. DJ just alluded to issues with the offensive line. I think that's a little bit of a concern. And, frankly, I'm just a little bit concerned about how Baker Mayfield handles things if it goes sideways on him early on. He's had some pretty good success at Oklahoma. So I think those are some concerns for me right off the bat. I do think he needs people around him to help get the best out of him.
DJ Bradley Chubb, a wrecking ball. You have him going to the Browns at number 4?
Yeah, to me, this is a home run scenario for the Browns. They get the best quarterback in Sam Darnold. They come back and get the best defensive player in Bradley Chubb. Somebody you're going to pair up with Myles Garrett. I'd love to see it if they get in sub situations. Let Myles Garrett even rush over a guard. You have Ogba on one side. You have Chubb on the other. Garrett rushing inside. That'd be a fun defensive line.
All right, from 4 to 5, you have the Broncos selecting Josh Allen with that 5th overall selection. He's moving up.
Yeah, look, he's going to go in the top 5. He could be long gone by the time this pick comes around. And to me, John Elway just sees a lot of himself in a guy like Josh Allen, in my opinion. You look at the big arm, the skill set, the mobility. He's not there right now. Case Keenum, though, would afford him some time to grow into the role.
1 through 8, it looks like this. Sam Darnold, as we said, that number 1 all across the board. And it rounds out at number 8 with Tremaine Edmonds out of Virginia Tech going to those Chicago Bears, looking to get back to their defensive ways along Lakeshore Drive. DJ, the 49ers at the number 9 selection, taking Roquan Smith.
Yeah, to me, Roquan Smith is one of the cleaner players in the entire draft. You talk about what he does on the field, the range sideline to sideline, the ability to thump and play in between the tackles, and then you factor in the character and the leadership off the field. To me, this is an area I think the 49ers need to address. We'll see what happens with Reuben Foster in the future, but Roquan Smith is a dynamic football player.
Yeah, we saw him in the college football playoff. He is a disruptive kind of guy. Let's skip ahead now to pick number 12 because we've been talking about it all show long. Josh Rosen finally off the board.
Yeah, and I don't do trades and mock drafts, so if he did start to slide down a little bit, I think very easily you could see a team move up and go get Josh Rosen. In this scenario, though, he falls right in the Buffalo Bills' lap, and this is to me, it's a home run pick, picking at number 12 to get a guy like Josh Rosen. I just think there's a scenario with this many quarterbacks, and we've got 4 of them up there. One of them's going to drop, and in this scenario, it's Josh Rosen.
You guys out of that Southeastern Conference getting picked 9 through 16. Of course, you saw Darius Geis, the man who totes the rock down there in Baton Rouge for LSU.
Charlie, I have him as the 2nd running back in this draft class. You go back and watch him 2 years ago when he was fully healthy, led the SEC in rushing, kind of took over for Leonard Fournette that year with Fournette missing so much time. So I think he's an outstanding football player, and when you look at the Redskins specifically, Alex Smith comes in there. He leaves a team where they had the leading rusher in the league in Kansas City. Let's get him a big-time back where he can be comfortable here with the Washington Redskins and Darius Geis.
And tight end Hayden Hurst to the Ravens at number 16.
When you look at these tight ends in this draft, there's very few of them that I would say are friends of both the quarterback and the running back. A lot of guys, the quarterbacks are going to like these tight ends. The running backs, not so much. And Hayden Hurst is somebody that can actually help your running game as well as your passing game. And maybe that's a little bit early for the Ravens. Could maybe slide back and still get him. But I think he'd be a great fit for their squad.
We move along to the Colts at number 6, buy or beware. Denzel Ward, Bucky, what do you think with that one?
I'm buying this. Okay. I'm buying this pick. I think it's a great pick for the Indianapolis Colts if it comes to fruition. When you think about Frank Wright comes from Buffalo, where Marv Levy used to always preach, own the division, win the division. When you look at the quarterbacks in this division, they're improving rapidly. You have Deshaun Watson, Marcus Mariota, and even Blake Bortles. So you have to find guys that can disrupt and create turnovers. Denzel Ward should be a terrific disruptor, a ball hawk who is able to cover all the number 1s and is also tough enough to show up against them.
Now we pick it up with number 17, Derwin James, going to the Los Angeles Chargers, DJ?
Yeah, I don't know if Charger fans would sleep they'd be so excited to get Derwin James, who is a perfect match for Gus Bradley's defense. You think about what Cam Chancellor did for Gus Bradley in Seattle. Now you put somebody like Derwin James, who's a souped-up version of Cam Chancellor. That'd be fun to watch. I'm a little bit hesitant to say he could get there, but if he does, don't run that card up. Sprint that card up.
A souped-up version is what you're calling him?
He is explosive.
All right, how about Harold Landry, defensive end out of Boston College, going number 18 to the Emerald City in Seattle?
Yeah, you'll be a little bit disappointed with how Harold Landry holds up at the point of attack in the run game, but you'll be excited to get to third down where he can show off that natural pass rush ability that he has. He can really bend and dip around the edge. You go back 2 years ago, was extremely productive. Injured this year, that production slipped a little bit, but this is a draft light on edge rushers. He's next in line.
Ooh, the pride of the ponies in SMU. DJ has the Cowboys taking Courtland Sutton from Southern Methodist University with that 19th overall selection. Here's what you should know about him. Fourth ranked right out in Mike Mayock's top 5. He was first team All-AAC, not once, but twice. Also second in school history, 31 career touchdown snags. And as a freshman, he appeared in 3 games for the basketball team, which, oh, by the way, was coached by Larry Brown. Now, DJ, you have the Cowboys selecting Courtland Sutton, as we just informed you. So what do you think? When it comes to comparisons, who do you liken him to?
Well, let's look at body types, and I'll give you a couple names here. What you're hoping you're getting here is Brandon Marshall. You talk about Brandon Marshall. I remember him coming out of Central Florida. I actually remember scouting him at an all-star game in Hawaii. It was my favorite all-star game.
I'm sure it was.
For obvious reasons. Yeah. But talking about the ability to play above the rim, get down in the red zone, make some things happen down there. Physical at the top of the route, and just win those 50-50 balls. That's what Brandon Marshall has made a career off of. He's also a little bit faster than you think when you watch him on the field. They've got that long stride. They eat up ground. So that's what you're hoping. I would say worst case scenario, you get a different Brandon, and that's Brandon Coleman. We saw come out of Rutgers, had a productive career with the Saints down there. So I think you're getting a big body receiver. Big body receiver leaves in Dez. You're bringing a big body receiver here.
Well, with that being said, can he fill the void that has been left by Dez Bryant down there in the Metroplex?
Depends on which one you're talking about.
Okay.
If you're talking about 2014 Dez, the one that had over 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, no.
Okay.
He's not going to be at that level to where Dez was. You're talking about last year, over 800 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think that's more in the range where you're talking.
Okay, 17 through 24. Let's get down to business here because it looks a little bit like this. Derwin James out of Florida State. Jalen Ramsey, if he's been any indicator of what Florida State guys in the secondary can do, the Chargers, well, they will like their selection. That is if all goes well on draft day. And at 24, the Panthers selecting Mike Hughes, the cornerback out of Central Florida. You had those New Orleans Saints taking Dallas Goedert. Why's that?
Yeah, look, they tried to bring back Jimmy Graham. It didn't work. They can still look at a tight end. And to me, Dallas Goedert is worth the first-round pick. You see him right here. His ability to play in line. You can see him attached in the line of scrimmage. You can split him out, and he's a red zone threat.
There you have it. The Saints taking Goedert, number 27 out of South Dakota State. The Jaguars, they look to take DJ Chark out of LSU. And then, of course, Sony Michel, running back extraordinaire out of Georgia. He would be going to the world champion Philadelphia Eagles.